Captain Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship, the UES Pioneer. Through the large windows he could see stars scattered across the darkness of space like diamonds on black cloth. 3 years had passed since the day that changed everything for humanity. 3 years since aliens first came to Earth. Jake remembered that day clearly. He had been a young officer then, fresh out of the academy. The world had stopped when 12 alien ships appeared over major cities across Earth. People panicked at first, thinking it was an invasion. But the aliens came in peace. They called themselves the Galactic Council. The council was made up of 12 different alien species. There were the tall, blue-skinned Zentorians who looked almost human except for their size and color. The small, furry Kalari who spoke in musical tones. The insect-like Threx with their multiple arms and compound eyes. Each species was different, but they all worked together under the council's banner. Commander Lisa Bennett stood beside Jake, reading messages on her tablet. She was his second in command and one of the smartest people he knew. Her brown hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her green eyes moved quickly as she read through the diplomatic communications. "More requests for help," Lisa said, not looking up from her tablet. "The council says the Void Hunters are getting bolder. They want our fleet to move faster." Jake nodded but felt uneasy. The Void Hunters were supposed to be a group of space pirates causing trouble on the edge of council space. The council had asked Earth to help fight them. It seemed like a good way for humanity to prove they belonged in the galactic community. Back on Earth, Admiral Peter Collins was in charge of the mission. He worked from Luna Station, the big space base built on the moon. Collins was an old soldier with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had fought in Earth's last big war before the aliens came. Now he commanded humanity's space navy. Collins had sent almost half of Earth's space fleet to help the council. 43 ships in total. The biggest was the UES Vengeance, a massive warship with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Along with it came 12 heavy cruisers and 30 destroyers. These were Earth's newest and best ships, built with human technology mixed with some alien science the council had shared. Dr. Helen Carter was also on the Pioneer. She was a scientist who studied alien life forms. Helen had spent months learning about the different council species. She knew their biology, their cultures, and their histories. But something bothered her about this mission. "The timing feels wrong," Helen told Jake during one of their regular meetings. She was a small woman with blonde hair and worried blue eyes. "Why now? The council has been dealing with these Void Hunters for years. Why do they suddenly need our help so badly?" Jake had wondered the same thing. The council species were advanced. They had been traveling between stars for thousands of years while humans were still learning to make fire. Their technology was better than Earth's in many ways. So why did they need help from the newcomers? The answer, according to the council, was that humans were natural warriors. They said humanity had a gift for military thinking that other species lacked. It was flattering, and it made Earth's leaders eager to help. Everyone wanted to prove that humans deserved their place among the stars. Lisa finished reading her messages and looked up at Jake. "The Zentorians are pushing for us to reach the target zone ahead of schedule. They say the Void Hunters are planning something big." "How big?" Jake asked. "They won't say. Just that it's urgent." Jake walked to the navigation station where Lieutenant Tony Martinez was plotting their course. Tony was young and eager, with dark hair and excited brown eyes. He loved working with the alien navigation technology the council had given them. "How long until we reach the meeting point?" Jake asked. 18 hours at current speed, Tony replied. "But we could be there in 12 if we push the engines." "The council wants us there in 12, Lisa added. Jake thought about it. Pushing the engines wouldn't hurt the ship, but it seemed strange that the council was in such a hurry. Throughout the 3 years of contact, they had always been patient and careful. This urgency was new. The meeting point was in the Kepler 442 system near the edge of council space. That's where the human fleet was supposed to join with council forces to fight the Void Hunters. Jake had never been that far from Earth before. Few humans had. Dr. Carter joined them on the bridge carrying her research tablet. I've been studying the intelligence reports about these void hunters, she said. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Jake asked. Look at their attack patterns, Helen said, showing them her tablet. The void hunters always hit small, weak targets. Mining stations, cargo ships, research outposts. They avoid anything with heavy defenses. That makes sense for pirates, Lisa said. They want easy targets. But now the Council says they're planning to attack major Council worlds, Helen continued. That's not what pirates do. It's what an army does. Jake studied the data Helen was showing them. She was right. The Void Hunter attacks were scattered and small. They stole supplies and ran away. They didn't fight big battles. Maybe they're getting stronger, Tony suggested. Maybe they've been building up their forces. Maybe, Helen said, but she didn't sound convinced. Admiral Collins appeared on the main screen through a video call from Luna Station. His face looked tired and worried. Behind him, Jake could see the busy command center where officers worked at dozens of computer stations. Captain Morrison, Collins said, I need a status report. We're on schedule, Admiral, Jake replied. 18 hours to the meeting point. The Council is asking us to arrive early, Collins said. Can you push your engines? Yes, sir, but may I ask why the rush? Collins paused before answering. The Council says they have new intelligence about a major Void Hunter offensive. They need our fleet in position immediately. After the call ended, Jake gathered his senior staff in the briefing room. Besides Lisa and Helen, there was Chief Engineer Sam Parker, a big man with calloused hands who knew every bolt and wire on the ship. There was also Communications Officer Amy Phillips, who handled all contact with other ships and alien forces. Something feels wrong about this mission, Jake said, looking around the table. Dr. Carter has raised some good points about the intelligence we've received. Helen repeated her concerns about the Void Hunter attack patterns. Sam listened carefully, then spoke up. I've been thinking about the technical specs they gave us for this operation, he said in his deep voice. They want us to bring our most advanced ships, our best weapons, our newest technology. That makes sense if we're fighting a big battle, Amy said. Does it? Sam asked. We're supposed to be helping them fight pirates. Why would they need our newest ships for that? Their oldest ships are still better than most of what we have. Lisa pulled up star charts on the briefing room screen. Look at where they're sending us, she said, pointing to the Kepler 442 system. It's far from the main Council worlds, far from major trade routes. If the Void Hunters were planning a major attack, why would they mass their forces out here? Jake studied the charts. Lisa was right. The system was in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing important there except empty space and a few dead planets. Maybe that's the point, Tony suggested. Maybe they're gathering where no one expects them. Or maybe, Helen said quietly, we're being set up. The room fell silent. Nobody wanted to think about that possibility. The Council had been humanity's first contact with galactic civilization. They had welcomed Earth, shared technology, offered friendship. The idea that it might all be a lie was too horrible to consider. But Jake couldn't shake his doubts. Too many things didn't make sense. The urgency, the location, the type of ships requested, it all felt wrong. We'll proceed as ordered, Jake finally said, but everyone stays alert. If something doesn't feel right when we get there, we act fast. The Pioneer continued through space toward the meeting point, carrying Jake and his crew toward a destiny none of them could imagine. In 12 hours, they would learn the truth about the Galactic Council's real intentions. In 12 hours, everything would change. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Pioneer, looking at the empty space ahead of them. His stomach felt tight with worry. Something was very wrong. Where is everyone? Commander Lisa Bennett asked, staring at the sensor readings on her screen. The Council fleet should be here. Jake activated the communication system. This is Captain Morrison of the UES Pioneer calling Council forces. Please respond. He waited, but only silence came back through the speakers. Across the fleet, other ship captains were trying the same thing. Captain Ryan Clark of the UES Vengeance, the biggest ship in the human fleet, sent message after message to the Council. All he got back were automated responses telling the human ships to proceed deeper into the system. Admiral Collins is trying to reach us from Luna Station, Amy Phillips said from her communication station. Her voice sounded worried. The signal is weak, but he's asking for a status report. Jake nodded. Tell him we've arrived at the meeting point, but the Council fleet isn't here. We're getting automated messages only. Lieutenant Tony Martinez looked up from his navigation controls. Captain, I'm picking up some strange readings from the asteroid belt near the center of the system. What kind of readings? Jake asked. Energy signatures. Lots of them. Much more than what we'd expect from a normal asteroid field. Dr. Helen Carter hurried onto the bridge, carrying her analysis tablet. Captain, I've been studying the automated messages we're receiving. They're not coming from Council ships, they're coming from automated beacons placed throughout the system. Beacons? Lisa asked. Communication relays, Helen explained. Someone set them up to guide us deeper into the system, but there are no actual Council personnel sending these messages. Jake felt his blood turn cold. Are you saying the Council isn't here at all? I'm saying someone wants us to think they are. On the UES Vengeance, Captain Ryan Clark was having the same realization. His intelligence officer, Lieutenant Commander Amy Phillips, had been scanning the system with the ship's most powerful sensors. What she found made her hands shake as she reported to Clark. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the asteroid belt. Not just a few ships, but hundreds of them. Clark studied the readings on his command screen. How many hundreds? At least 200 vessels, sir, maybe more. They're using some kind of stealth technology to hide from our sensors, but their power cores are still generating heat signatures. 200 ships to fight space pirates, Clark said, his voice grim. That's not a police action. That's an invasion force. The human fleet continued moving toward the center of the system, following the automated guidance signals. They passed the outer planets, dead worlds with no atmosphere or life. The asteroid belt grew larger ahead of them, a ring of floating rocks that circled the system's dying star. Chief Engineer Sam Parker was deep in the engine room of the UES Pioneer when his instrument started showing readings that made no sense. Gravitational fields were appearing around the human fleet, but there was nothing visible causing them. Sam called the bridge immediately. Captain, we've got a problem down here. I'm reading gravitational anomalies forming all around us. What kind of anomalies? Jake asked over the communication system. The kind that trap ships in one place, Sam replied, his voice tight with fear. Someone is using gravity manipulation technology to create a cage around our fleet. Jake felt his heart start beating faster. Gravity manipulation was advanced technology that humans didn't have. Only the most sophisticated alien species could control gravity fields. How long before we're completely trapped? Maybe 20 minutes, Sam said. Once the fields stabilize, we won't be able to jump to faster than light speed. We'll be stuck. Here. Jake immediately opened a channel to all ships in the fleet. This is Captain Morrison to all vessels. We are in immediate danger. Unknown forces are creating gravity fields around our position. All ships prepare for possible combat. Captain Clark on the UES Vengeance was already reaching the same conclusion. His tactical officer had detected the gravity fields and was calculating their strength. Sir, these fields are being generated by devices hidden throughout the asteroid belt. Whoever placed them has been planning this for a long time. Can we destroy the gravity generators? Clark asked. Not easily, sir. They're protected by the asteroids and there are too many of them. We'd need hours to find and destroy them all. We don't have hours, Clark said grimly. Dr. Carter was studying the gravitational readings when she made a horrifying discovery. Captain, these gravity fields aren't random. They're designed specifically to trap ships with our engine types. What do you mean? Jake asked. Human faster-than-light drives work differently from alien drives, Helen explained. These gravity fields are tuned to interfere with human technology specifically. Whoever set this trap studied our ships and knew exactly how to stop them. The terrible truth was becoming clear. This wasn't a meeting with the Council to fight pirates. This was an ambush designed specifically to trap the human fleet. Someone had been planning this for a long time. Lieutenant Tony Martinez's sensors suddenly lit up with new contacts. "Captain, ships are decloaking all around us. Lots of ships." Jake looked at the main screen as alien vessels began appearing throughout the asteroid belt. First dozens, then hundreds of ships became visible as they dropped their stealth systems. Jake recognized the shapes of Zentaurian warships, Kalari battlecruisers, and Threx destroyers. But there were other ships too, from alien species he had never seen before. "How many?" Jake asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. "Over 300 vessels, sir," Tony replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "All of them are armed and targeting our fleet." Amy Phillips received a transmission from one of the alien ships. "Captain, we're getting a message. It's being broadcast on all frequencies to our entire fleet." "Put it on screen," Jake ordered. The image that appeared showed a tall, blue-skinned Zentaurian in military uniform. Jake recognized him from diplomatic meetings as Counselor Vex-High, one of the most important leaders in the Galactic Council. "Human vessels," Vex-High said in perfect English. "You have been lured here under false pretenses. There are no void hunters. There is no pirate threat. You are here because the Galactic Council has voted to eliminate the human threat to Galactic." Stability. Jake felt like he had been punched in the stomach. "Threat? What threat?" Vex-High continued his broadcast. "For 3 years, we have studied your species. We have learned about your history, your technology, your military capabilities. The Council has concluded that humanity is too aggressive and too unpredictable to be allowed to expand into galactic space." On other ships throughout the human fleet, captains and crews were listening to the same message with growing horror. Everything they thought they knew about their relationship with the alien species was a lie. Your rapid technological advancement threatens the balance of power that has kept peace in this galaxy for millennia, Vex-High said. Your territorial expansion and militaristic culture make you unsuitable for membership in civilized galactic society. Captain Clark activated his weapon systems on the UES Vengeance. Around him, his crew prepared for battle with grim determination. They were outnumbered 10-1, trapped in gravity fields and surrounded by enemies. But they were still going to fight. Therefore, Vex-High continued, the Council has decided that humanity must be contained. Your fleet will be destroyed here, and your homeworld will be placed under galactic supervision to prevent further expansion. Jake felt rage building inside him. They used us. They pretended to be friends while they planned to destroy us. Lisa was studying the tactical display, counting enemy ships. "Captain, we're facing 47 different alien species. This isn't just the Council. They've assembled a coalition of nearly every known spacefaring race." Dr. Carter looked at her analysis of the enemy formations. "They've been planning this since first contact. Every meeting, every trade agreement, every cultural exchange was designed to study us and learn our weaknesses," Sam Parker called from the engine room. "Captain, the gravity fields are at full strength now. We can't jump to faster than light speed. We're trapped." Jake opened a channel to Admiral Collins back at Luna Station. The signal was weak and breaking up, but he managed to get a message through. "Admiral, this is Morrison. We've been betrayed. The Council has trapped our fleet. They're planning to attack Earth. Tell everyone what happened here." Collins' voice came back through heavy static. "Jake, you're breaking up. Did you say betrayed?" "The whole thing was a setup," Jake replied. "Every species we trusted is here. They want to destroy humanity, warn Earth." The communication cut off as alien ships moved to jam all transmissions from the human fleet. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They were scared but determined. They knew they were probably going to die, but they would make the aliens pay for their treachery. "Captain." Clark's voice came over the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is the Vengeance. We're going to show these aliens what happens when you betray humanity. All vessels, prepare to engage the enemy." The human ships powered up their weapons and shields, preparing for a battle they couldn't win but refusing to surrender. The battle lasted 6 hours. 6 hours of humanity's finest ships fighting against impossible odds in the cold darkness of space. Captain Jake Morrison watched from the bridge of the UES Pioneer as one by one, The human fleet was torn apart by overwhelming alien firepower. The UES Vengeance fought the longest. Captain Ryan Clark kept his massive warship firing until the very end, taking down 12 alien vessels before his ship finally exploded in a ball of white fire. His last transmission was simple. "Tell Earth we did our duty." Jake's own ship was dying around him. The Pioneer's hull was cracked in dozens of places, and Chief Engineer Sam Parker reported that the main engines were failing. "We've got maybe 10 minutes before we lose power completely," Sam said over the communication system. Commander Lisa Bennett was injured, blood running down her face from a cut on her forehead. But she stayed at her post, trying to coordinate what was left of the human defense. "The destroyer UES Hunter just went dark," she reported. "That leaves only 7 ships still fighting." Dr. Helen Carter worked frantically at her station, trying to send a message back to Earth. The alien jamming was strong, but she had found a way to punch through it using the ship's emergency beacon. "I'm getting a signal out," she said. "Earth needs to know what really happened here." Lieutenant Tony Martinez was piloting the ship through the maze of alien vessels, dodging their weapons' fire. His face was pale with fear, but his hands were steady on the controls. "Captain, the aliens are moving into position to finish us off." Jake looked at the tactical display. Only 5 human ships were still fighting now. Around them, over 200 alien vessels moved like sharks circling wounded prey. The humans had fought bravely, but there was no hope left. "All ships," Jake said over the fleet communication system. "This is Captain Morrison. We're going to die here, but we're going to make sure Earth knows the truth. Keep fighting until the end." But the real betrayal was just beginning to unfold. As the last human ships prepared for their final battle, a new transmission began broadcasting across the galaxy. This time it wasn't just meant for the trapped human fleet. It was being sent to every inhabited world in known space. Counselor Vexhai appeared on screens throughout the galaxy, standing in the Great Assembly Hall where representatives from 47 different alien species had gathered. Behind him, Jake could see aliens he recognized and dozens more he had never seen before. Every major spacefaring race in the galaxy was represented. "Citizens of the galaxy," Vexhai began, his blue skin gleaming under the bright lights of the assembly hall. "Today marks the end of a threat that has loomed over our civilization for 3 years. The human species has been eliminated as a danger to galactic peace." Admiral Peter Collins was watching this transmission from Luna Station, orbiting Earth's moon. His face grew pale as he realized the scope of what was happening. This wasn't just an attack on the human fleet. This was the revelation of a galaxy-wide conspiracy. "When we first encountered humanity 3 years ago," Vexhai continued, "we hoped they could be civilized and integrated into galactic society. We offered them friendship, trade, and technology. We welcomed them as we have welcomed many species before." Dr. Carter managed to get her emergency transmission through to Earth just as the Pioneer's communication system finally failed. Her message was brief but devastating. Complete betrayal. Every species involved. They planned this from the beginning. Warn Earth. Collins received the message and immediately understood its implications. The entire 3-year relationship between Earth and the aliens had been a lie. Every diplomatic meeting, every trade agreement, every cultural exchange had been designed to study humanity and plan their destruction. On his screen, Vexhai was explaining the Council's decision to the galaxy. However, extensive study of human history and psychology revealed a species too violent and unpredictable for peaceful coexistence. Their rapid expansion, their territorial aggression, and their advanced military technology posed an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. Collins activated Earth's emergency communication system, sending alerts to every major government and military installation on the planet. "This is Admiral Collins with an emergency alert. We are under attack by a galactic coalition. The alien alliance was a deception. All Earth forces to maximum alert immediately." The transmission from the Galactic Assembly continued, and Collins learned the true extent of the conspiracy. It wasn't just the 12 species of the Galactic Council. 47 different alien races had participated in the plan to eliminate humanity. "For 3 years, we have studied them," Vexhai explained. To the galactic audience, we have learned their technology, their military tactics, their psychological weaknesses. We have mapped their worlds, counted their ships, and analyzed their defenses. Collins felt sick as he realized how thoroughly humanity had been deceived. Every alien visitor to Earth had been a spy. Every piece of technology they had shared was designed to make humans dependent on alien science. Every friendship had been a lie. We offered them a chance to prove they could be peaceful, HFY said. Instead, they began rapidly expanding their military forces. They established bases throughout their solar system. They developed new weapons and built warships. They proved our fears were justified. On Earth, President David Foster was meeting with his emergency cabinet when Collins' alert reached them. Foster was a tall man with gray hair who had led Earth through the first years of alien contact. Now he was learning that everything he thought he knew was wrong. "How many ships do we have left?" Foster asked Collins over the video link. "Almost. None, sir," Collins replied grimly. "They lured away nearly half our fleet and destroyed it. The ships that stayed behind are older and less powerful." "And they're coming here next?" "That's what the transmission suggests, sir. They're not just eliminating our fleet. They're planning to take control of Earth itself." Back in the Kepler 442 system, the last few human ships were making their final stand. The UES Pioneer was down to emergency power, its weapons systems failing. Jake Morrison looked around his bridge at his crew, proud of how they had fought against impossible odds. "Captain," Amy Phillips said from her communication station, "I'm picking up a transmission from the aliens. They're offering us a chance to surrender." "What are the terms?" Jake asked. "They want us to power down our weapons and prepare to be boarded. They say they'll take us prisoner instead of destroying us." Jake thought about it for a moment, then shook his head. "Tell them we refuse. We're not going to be used as propaganda for their victory." Lisa Bennett, despite her injuries, managed a weak smile. "I'm proud to serve with you, sir." The alien fleet moved in for the final attack. The remaining human ships fired their last shots, taking down a few more alien vessels before their own weapons went dark. The UES Pioneer shuddered as alien energy beams tore through its hull. But Jake had one last card to play. Before the ship's power failed completely, he activated the emergency beacon system. Not to call for help, but to send a message. A message that would reach Earth and tell them exactly what had happened. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the UES Pioneer," he said into the recorder. "We were betrayed by every alien species we trusted. This was all planned from the beginning. They studied us for 3 years, learned our weaknesses, and then lured our fleet into a trap." The ship was breaking apart around him, but Jake continued his message. "They're coming for Earth next. Don't trust any of them. Fight them with everything you have, make them pay for what they did to us." The transmission ended as the Pioneer exploded, taking Jake and his crew with it. But his message was already racing through space toward Earth, carrying the truth about the galactic betrayal. In the assembly hall, HFY was concluding his speech to the galaxy. "The human threat has been eliminated. Their fleet is destroyed, and their leaders will soon understand that resistance is futile. Earth will be placed under galactic supervision to ensure they never again threaten the peace we have worked so hard to maintain." But Admiral Collins, watching from Luna Station, had other plans. As alien scout ships began appearing at the edge of the solar system, he was already activating protocols that had been kept secret even from the aliens who thought they knew everything about humanity. The aliens had made one crucial mistake. They thought they understood humans, but they had only seen what humanity wanted them to see. Now they were about to learn what happened when you cornered the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Earth's real response was just beginning. The emergency meeting in the White House began 30 minutes after Captain Morrison's final message reached Earth. President David Foster sat at the head of a long table surrounded by military leaders, scientists, and intelligence officials. The room was filled with tension and barely controlled anger. Admiral Peter Collins appeared on the main screen from Luna Station. His uniform was wrinkled and his eyes were red from lack of sleep, but his voice was steady and determined. "Mr. President, we have confirmation that our entire fleet at Kepler 442 has been destroyed. All 43 ships are gone." "How long do we have?" Foster asked. Alien scout ships are already entering our solar system, Collins replied. Based on their movement patterns, I estimate the main invasion force will arrive within 6 months. General Chris Taylor, head of Earth's ground forces, spoke up from his seat at the table. 6 months to prepare for an invasion by 47 alien species. Those aren't good odds. Foster turned to a woman sitting quietly at the far end of the table. She was small and thin, with short gray hair and intelligent eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Most people in the room didn't know who she was, and that was exactly how Director Kate Williams preferred it. Director Williams, Foster said, I think it's time to discuss your projects. Kate Williams had been running Earth's most secret research division for the past 5 years. While the public knew about the normal space program and the regular military, they had no idea about the Advanced Weapons Division. Even most government officials didn't know it existed. Mr. President, Williams said in a quiet voice, for the past 3 years we've been developing technologies that we kept hidden from our alien visitors. We suspected that showing them everything might not be wise. She activated a holographic display in the center of the table. Images appeared showing strange-looking devices and weapons unlike anything most people in the room had ever seen. While the aliens were studying us, we were studying them, Williams continued. Every piece of technology they shared with us we took apart and figured out how it worked. Then we built better versions. Dr. Marcus Stone, head of the Prometheus Research Institute, was also at the meeting. He was a tall man with a bald head and tired eyes. For 3 years he had been working on projects so dangerous that even he sometimes questioned whether they should exist. The quantum manipulation technology we developed is unlike anything the aliens have shown us, Stone explained. We call it Project Reaper. It can tear apart matter at the atomic level. Foster studied the holographic displays showing weapon designs and technical specifications. Are you telling me we have secret weapons that are better than alien technology? Not better in every way, Williams admitted, but different. The aliens have been using the same basic technologies for thousands of years. They've perfected them, but they haven't innovated. Humans think differently. General Taylor leaned forward in his chair. What kind of weapons are we talking about? Stone activated another display showing a sleek black device about the size of a briefcase. This is a quantum disruptor. It creates a field that breaks down the bonds holding atoms together. Anything caught in the field simply stops existing. How big a field? Collins asked from the screen. The largest version we've built can create a field 50 kilometers wide, Stone replied. We've tested it on asteroids, they just disappear. Foster felt a chill run down his spine. How many of these weapons do we have? Currently, we have 12 quantum disruptors of various sizes, Williams said. We also have gravitational pulse, generators, temporal distortion devices, and something we call reality anchors. Reality anchors? Foster asked. Devices that prevent other people from using advanced physics weapons against us, Stone explained. If someone tries to use a quantum weapon near a reality anchor, it won't work. Collins was studying the technical data being transmitted to Luna Station. This is incredible. But 12 weapons won't stop an invasion fleet of thousands of ships. Williams smiled for the first time in the meeting. Admiral, you're thinking too small. We don't just have 12 weapons. We've redesigned our entire defense strategy around these technologies. She activated a new display showing the solar system. But instead of the familiar planets and space stations, the image showed hundreds of hidden installations throughout the system. For the past 2 years, we've been building a secret defense network, Williams explained. Every asteroid, every moon, every piece of space debris larger than a house has been converted into a weapon platform. General Taylor stared at the display in amazement. You militarized the entire solar system without anyone knowing? The aliens were watching our official military installations, Williams said. They counted our ships and our weapons, but they never suspected that we were turning ordinary objects into the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. Foster pointed to one of the objects on the display. What's that one? That's Ceres, the largest asteroid in the belt, Stone replied. We've hollowed it out and turned it into a quantum cannon. It can fire disruptor beams that will cut through any known shielding technology. Collins was beginning to understand the scope of what had been hidden from him. How many of these installations are there? Over 3,000 weapon platforms, Williams answered. Each one is disguised to look like a normal space object. The aliens have no idea they exist. Dr. Stone activated another display showing ship designs that looked nothing like the vessels the aliens had seen Earth build. These ships were sleek and black with smooth curves and no visible weapons ports. We've also been building a secret fleet, Stone said. These ships don't use conventional engines or weapons. They're powered by quantum cores and armed with reality-shaping devices. Foster studied the ship designs. They looked more like works of art than military vessels. How many ships? 237, Williams replied, all hidden in deep space facilities that the aliens never found. The most important person at the meeting hadn't spoken yet. Fleet Admiral Linda Hayes commanded Earth's hidden reserve forces. She was a stern woman with short brown hair and scars on her hands from years of working with dangerous technology. Mr. President, Hayes said, the aliens made a crucial mistake. They assumed we would fight them the same way we fight each other. They studied our conventional military and thought they understood us. But they don't understand us at all, Foster said, beginning to see the bigger picture. Exactly, Hayes replied. Humans don't just adapt to new technology. We improve it, weaponize it, and use it in ways the original creators never imagined. Collins was studying fleet deployment charts on his screen at Luna Station. Admiral Hayes, where are these ships positioned? Scattered throughout the outer solar system, Hayes answered. When the alien fleet arrives, they'll find what appears to be a defenseless Earth protected only by a few old ships. Williams stood up and walked to the holographic display. The aliens think they know everything about us because they studied us for 3 years, but they only saw what we wanted them to see. She activated a final display showing Earth itself, but this wasn't the blue and green planet that everyone knew. This image showed a world covered in energy fields and defensive installations. We've spent 3 years preparing for this day, Williams continued. Every major city on Earth is protected by reality anchors. Every military base has quantum weapons. Even our civilian space stations are armed with disruptor technology. Foster looked around the room at the faces of his advisors. For the first time since learning about the betrayal, he felt hope instead of fear. So when they arrive expecting to find a helpless planet, Foster said, what will they actually find? Admiral Hayes smiled grimly. They'll find out why you should never betray humanity, Mr. President. They'll learn that we don't just fight wars. We rewrite the rules of warfare itself. Dr. Stone activated one more display showing a countdown timer. The alien fleet will be here in exactly 184 days. By then, we'll be ready to show them what human innovation really looks like. Foster stood up, his decision made. Ladies and gentlemen, the aliens think they've eliminated the human threat. They're about to learn how wrong they are. As the meeting ended, each person left with their orders. The next 6 months would determine whether humanity survived or perished. But for the first time since the betrayal was revealed, Earth's leaders were confident about the outcome. The aliens had made the mistake of underestimating human ingenuity. They were about to pay the price for that error. In 6 months, they would learn that betraying humanity was the worst decision they had ever made. 6 months after the betrayal at Kepler 442, the largest military force in galactic history approached Earth's solar system. Over 3,000 ships from 47 different alien species moved through space like a massive metal cloud. They came expecting an easy victory over a primitive world. Counselor Vexhai stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Zentorian dreadnought Galactic Justice. Through the massive viewing windows, he could see the blue dot that was Earth growing, larger as they approached. Around him, alien officers from dozens of species worked at their stations, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Status report, Vexhai ordered. His tactical officer, an insect-like Threx named Kickstar, studied the readings on his screen. We are detecting minimal resistance, Counselor. Only a few dozen human ships are visible near their homeworld. Their defenses appear even weaker than our intelligence suggested. Vexhai smiled with satisfaction. The human fleet they had destroyed at Kepler 442 had been the best Earth could offer. What remained were old ships with outdated weapons, This would be over quickly. On Luna Station, Admiral Peter Collins watched the approaching alien armada through his command center's sensors. The station appeared to be running on emergency power, with many systems dark and inactive. To alien observers, it looked like humanity's space infrastructure was already failing. "All hidden installations report ready," his aide whispered. "The quantum weapons are charged and waiting." Collins nodded but didn't reply out loud. He knew the aliens were listening to all communications, and he wanted them to feel confident right up until the moment everything changed. Captain Elena Rodriguez commanded the UES Retaliation, flagship of Earth's secret revenge fleet. Her ship floated in the darkness behind Neptune, invisible to alien sensors thanks to advanced stealth technology. Around her, 236 other hidden vessels waited for the signal to begin humanity's response. Elena had lost friends in the Kepler 442 massacre. Captain Jake Morrison had been her academy roommate. Captain Ryan Clark had saved her life during the war with the African Federation. Now she would have her chance to make the aliens pay for their betrayal. "Captain," her weapons officer, Lieutenant Frank Kelly, said quietly, "all quantum disruptors are ready. Reality anchors are active. We're ready to show them what human innovation looks like." The alien fleet entered the inner solar system, passing Mars and moving toward Earth. Their formation was perfect, disciplined, and overwhelming. 3,000 ships arranged in attack groups, each one powerful enough to destroy a planet. HFY opened a communication channel to Earth. "Human leadership, this is Counselor HFY of the Galactic Council. Your fleet has been destroyed and your resistance is hopeless. Surrender now and your people will be allowed to live under Council supervision." President David Foster appeared on the screen, sitting in what appeared to be a damaged command bunker. Behind him, sparks flew from broken equipment and the lights flickered weakly. He looked tired and defeated. "Counselor HFY," Foster said, his voice shaking, "Earth surrenders. We cannot fight your superior forces. We ask only that you spare our civilian population." HFY felt pleased with how easy this was. "Wise decision. Power down all remaining military installations and prepare to receive Council occupation forces." What the aliens didn't know was that Foster was sitting in a perfectly functional command center. The sparks and flickering lights were special effects designed to make Earth appear helpless. Every word of the surrender was a lie meant to draw the aliens closer. The alien fleet moved into Earth's orbital space, surrounding the planet with overwhelming firepower. Their ships took positions above every major city and military installation. From their perspective, they had achieved total victory without firing a shot. Dr. Marcus Stone sat in the real command center, deep beneath the Nevada desert. Around him, technicians monitored the most advanced weapons ever built by human hands. Everything was ready. They just needed to wait for the aliens to move into the perfect position. "All quantum cannons report target lock," one technician reported. "Gravitational pulse generators are charged. Temporal distortion fields are standing by." Stone looked at the tactical display showing the alien fleet's positions. They had placed themselves exactly where Earth's planners had hoped they would. Every major alien ship was within range of multiple hidden weapon systems. Engineer Tony Martinez worked in the control room of the converted asteroid series. Around him, massive quantum manipulation equipment hummed with barely contained energy. The entire asteroid had been hollowed out and converted into the largest weapon ever built by humanity. "Power levels at maximum," Tony reported to Earth Command. "We can target up to 50 ships simultaneously with the main cannon." Director Kate Williams watched from her underground facility as the aliens completed their deployment. 3 years of careful planning had led to this moment. The aliens thought they understood human technology, but they were about to learn how wrong they were. "All stations report ready," Williams said into her headset. "Operation Reaper is go in 30 seconds. Admiral Linda Hayes gave the order that would change galactic history forever. All units, this is Hayes. Execute Operation Reaper. For our fallen at Kepler 442. Leave nothing intact. The battle that followed wasn't really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of what happened when you betrayed the most innovative and vengeful species in the galaxy. The first alien ships to die were the ones closest to Earth." hidden quantum disruptors activated throughout the planet's orbital space, creating fields that simply erased matter from existence. Alien vessels that had been there 1 second were gone the next, as if they had never existed at all. Captain Rodriguez led the hidden fleet out of stealth, her ships appearing throughout, the solar system like ghosts materializing from the darkness. The U.S. Retaliation fired its quantum torpedoes at the alien flagship, watching as reality-warping weapons tore through shields that had been considered impenetrable. "Target the command ships first," Rodriguez ordered. "Cut off their ability to coordinate." The asteroid belt came alive with weapon fire as hundreds of hidden installations revealed themselves. What the aliens had thought were ordinary rocks turned out to be the most powerful artillery platforms ever constructed. Quantum beams lanced through space, cutting alien dreadnoughts in half. Counselor Vexahai watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart around him. His tactical officer was screaming reports that made no sense. "Impossible energy readings. Our shields are useless. They're using weapons that shouldn't exist." "How many ships have we lost?" Vexahai demanded. "Over half the fleet in the first 60 seconds, the officer replied, his voice shaking with terror. Tony Martinez fired the main cannon from Ceres, sending a quantum beam that was visible across the entire solar system. The beam passed through 12 alien ships in a perfectly straight line, and all 12 simply ceased to exist. The atoms that had made up those vessels scattered into empty space. Admiral Collins coordinated the defense from Luna Station, no longer pretending his systems were damaged. "Reality anchors are working perfectly. Every time they try to use their advanced weapons, our anchors prevent them from functioning. The aliens discovered that their most powerful weapons were useless. Gravity bombs failed to detonate. Energy disruption fields collapsed before they could form. Temporal weapons simply stopped working when they tried to activate them. Dr. Stone activated the gravitational pulse generators hidden throughout the solar system. Massive waves of twisted space-time swept through the alien formation, crushing ships that had survived the initial quantum attacks. The aliens' own momentum turned against them as gravity fields redirected their movement into collision courses. Within 2 hours, the largest military force in galactic history was reduced to scattered debris. Of the 3,000 ships that had arrived to conquer Earth, fewer than 100 survived to attempt escape. Most of those were destroyed by the hidden fleet as they tried to flee the solar system. President Foster appeared on screens throughout the galaxy, broadcasting to every inhabited world. Behind him stood Admiral Collins, Director Williams, and Dr. Stone. There were no special effects this time. The command center was bright, clean, and obviously functional. "People of the galaxy," Foster began, "you have just witnessed what happens when you betray humanity. For 3 years you studied us and thought you understood us. You were wrong." The broadcast showed footage of the battle, alien ships being erased from existence by weapons that defied understanding. Foster's voice was calm but filled with barely controlled anger. "You thought we were a threat before? You haven't seen anything yet. Earth remembers its friends, but we never forget our enemies. Every species that participated in this betrayal is now marked for punishment." Admiral Hayes appeared, on the screen next to Foster. "We are not interested in conquest or territory. We want justice. Any species that attacks human settlements, threatens human citizens, or interferes with human expansion will face the same fate as this fleet." The broadcast ended with a simple message that echoed throughout galactic space. Choose wisely. In the months that followed, the galactic order that had existed for millennia collapsed completely.